Do you want to have more energy in your life? Well, today I'm going to talk about my energy producing diet that I've developed over many years of trial and error. Now, the thing is, right now, I'm a little bit out of shape, right? I could definitely be in a lot better shape. And I've been trying to get back on this health journey and get back in shape, lean down a little bit, get six-pack abs, build a bit of muscle. And what I've realized with starting work at 5 in the morning and oftentimes getting less than 8 hours of sleep, I've realized it's really important for me at the start that I focus on energy first over weight loss and putting on muscle. And so today I'm going to give you the 3 things that I'm focusing on right now. And this isn't a prescription, this is my hypothesis. And I guess over the next few weeks, we'll be able to see if it's working or not. But my hypothesis is going to be what I'm about to lay out to you. There's 3 things that I'm focusing on. There's probably about 6 things in total. 6 things in total to completely dial it in. But right now, to get started, I'm just focusing on the first 3. These are arguably the most important 3 in order of importance. And so I'm going to list them out right now. So the very first thing that I'm focusing on is, can you guess what it is? Sleep, right? Sleep. Sleep is insanely important to your energy levels, right? I think that's pretty obvious. It goes without saying. We've all had it where we've had ample amounts of sleep, and we wake up the next morning. What do we feel? We feel energized. We feel ready to start the day. On the other side, we've had the opposite where we've had too little sleep. Maybe we've been out partying the night before or whatever it is. And what happens? Well, you wake up a little tired, right? And you don't want to get out of bed. Maybe you hit snooze, right? Do you hit snooze? So that is why sleep is number 1 for me. And obviously it's not just about there's 2 metrics, Warren Buffett says. You always need to look at 2 metrics, quality and quantity. So oftentimes when we think of sleep, we look at quantity. We're like, how many hours did you get, right? That's a quantity amount. But what you also need to look at is quality. So quality is going to be looking at your deep sleep or your REM sleep, for example, or your light sleep, or how many times you wake up in the night. So for me, the key metric I'm looking for is deep sleep. I'm trying to get about 100 minutes a night of deep sleep. It might not be enough. You probably need, some people say you need up to 150 minutes a night. So I'm trying to aim between 100 minutes to 2 hours, which is 120. And then in terms of quantity, 8 hours of actual sleep is ideal, which means you probably need to be in bed for about 9 hours. But for me, it's not really feasible. If I'm starting work at 5 a.m., I have to be up. It means I have to be in bed by 9 p.m. to be in bed for 8 hours. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for, even though it's not optimal. The most optimal actually for me is just waking up when my body's ready, when I've had enough sleep. I've done that twice in the last week or so, and actually both those times I scored a 100% on sleep with my Whoop rating. And so therefore that just showed me the importance of waking up when your body's ready or getting the full amount of sleep that you need. Makes a huge difference, right? Those are the 2 times I didn't set an alarm. So in order for me to track sleep, I've recently invested in a Whoop strap. I got this maybe about a week ago, just over a week ago. So I've been tracking my sleep every night, and it's been interesting to see the performance. I still don't know if I'm 100% a big believer in the Whoop strap, but it's definitely good to see how many hours of sleep you're getting, potentially how much deep sleep you're getting, if that's accurate, which I think it is. So moving on to number 2. Number 2 on the list is, can you guess it? I bet you might not be able to. It is water. I'm going to write hydration. So hydration is super, super, super important for your energy levels. And this is another pretty simple one. So sleep's a little bit more complicated. Sleep is how many hours do you need? How long do you need in bed to get that sleep? What temperature should your room be? Should you drink coffee during the day, etc., etc. Water and hydration is a lot more simple, right? Basically, what I'm aiming for here, which is a little bit aggressive, but I'm aiming for 4 liters of water per day. Usually ending on about 3 to 4 liters. That's kind of my goal. 3 to 4 liters. This is what I'm aiming for, and we'll see how we go. Also, I forgot to mention, with sleep, I wear these glasses. I wear them just before bed, about an hour to 2 hours before bed. What they are is they're blue light blocking glasses. Just like when you put your phone on night mode, or your laptop, if you've got a Mac, you might have put it on night mode. I think it's called night mode. You'll have seen there's like an orange hue over the screen. And what that's doing is that's reducing the blue light and when you reduce the blue light, you're bringing out some of the oranges just naturally. And so what this does is, you've got night mode on your phone, but what about the lights in the ceiling? What about the TV? What about all the other devices and things, light sources in your house that don't have night mode on them, right? So that's what these are for. That's why I'm wearing them in this video. They help with sleep. And number 3, the third thing I'm focusing on is nutrition. Nutrition, right? Super important. My general metric for this, I'm keeping it super simple. To start, I'm going to dial in my macros, I'm going to dial in the calories, I'm going to dial it all in over time. But to start, just to keep it very simple, I'm just doing this. Very simple. I'm just doing 70 to 80% water-based foods. So what's a water food? What do I consider a water food? This is something I'm making up, by the way. That's going to be something like salad, right? You can look at a plate of salad and it's pretty obvious. Water makes up a large percentage of salad, right? So I'm trying to keep my plate like nature, right? Joel Salatin always says, he's got a quote that's quite famous, nature laughs last. And it's basically saying, if you try to go against the laws of nature, if you try to go against the way nature's designed, you're going to lose, right? Nature laughs last. And so with the theory of 70 to 80% water-based foods on your plate, that's like the world, right? If you look at our planet where humanity lives, it's one of, the only planets we've found with life, living life, is our planet Earth. And Earth is comprised of how much percent water? 70 to 80%. I think it might be closer to 80% than 70. But you get my point. 70 to 80% water in the world. So I'm trying to keep my plate about 70 to 80% water-based foods. So how do I do that? Big salad, and then I have my protein is the 20 to 30%. Now, obviously, calories and macros, 80% of that is coming from the protein that I'm adding, and 20% is the salad, and vice versa. 80% is the water-based foods, which is the salad, and the 20% is the protein. So that's what I'm trying to do here. These are my top 3 guiding principles. And then I said to you at the start of this, there's probably about 6. So I'll add in a few more very quickly, which I'm not as focused on. They're not part of my routine, but I do try to get them in. So let's do number 4 is breathing. So super important, right? How long can you go without food? Nutrition. How long can you go without food? Well, without food, you can go, I don't know how long, a long time. You can go 80 days or 100 days or 150 days. I don't know the exact number. How long can you go without water, right? Can't go that long. You can go 3 or 4 days, right? Maybe 5 days. How long can you go without breathing, right? 3 minutes. So breathing is super important. There's a lot of breathing techniques you can follow. I don't even know if this is in the screen. I hope it is, but if it's not, I just wrote down breathing. Super important. How can you breathe and practice breathing? Well, there's apps that can help you do it to count your breaths. But basically, you want to go in through your nose and out through your mouth. And what you'll notice, a big mistake a lot of people make when they breathe is they do a deep breath in and their shoulders raise. And then they breathe out, their shoulders drop. What you want to be doing is breathing in and your stomach comes out. And what that does when your stomach comes out, it makes room for your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is basically a muscle at the bottom of your lungs or near the bottom of your lungs. It might not be inside your lungs. That pulls down. As that pulls down, it creates a vacuum in your lungs and brings air through your nose or your mouth. And it allows you to fill up your lungs. Whereas if you breathe in, you come up, your diaphragm doesn't have the room to pull down, which is what it naturally does. So it doesn't create the vacuum. You only get your lungs maybe 60% full. Whereas if you bring your stomach out as you breathe in, pull your diaphragm down, you can get air all the way down to the bottom of your lungs. So breathing could follow different timings with the breathing, box breathing. There's a lot of different ones. I'm not going to go into it on this particular video. And lastly, let me give you one more. These are bonuses. The one more is going to be appropriate light exposure. So you may have heard about in places like Scandinavia, where it gets darker in the winter, where they only have a few hours of sunlight during the day. What happens is people don't get enough vitamin D, and when they don't get enough vitamin D, their depression increases, right? And happiness goes down. So a lot of people there supplement with vitamin D. Well, something you can do is get light exposure from the sun, direct sunlight on your skin. That's going to help you boost your vitamin D and obviously increase your mood, your energy levels, etc. So very important to be getting sun exposure. There's a lot more nuance to it. Like for example, time of the day, how long you should be in the sun, should you wear sunscreen, which I'm not going to answer these questions right now. There's an app called D-Minder. You can download it. It's going to tell you how long to spend in the sun based on where you are right now and where the sun is in the sky. So D-Minder is an app to check out. Andrew Huberman talks a lot about getting light in your eyes first thing in the morning. So I think that's super important. And I've heard a lot of benefits from watching the sunset, the sun go down. So that's meant to be very good for you before bed. And you'll notice when you go camping, if you've ever been camping or you've been hiking and you do an overnight one, what happens is, you've been hiking all day. As the sun starts to go down, you don't have the phone, you don't have all this artificial light around you, right? Light exposure is around darkness as well at the appropriate times. You don't have all this artificial light around you when you go camping or hiking. And what happens? The sun goes down, and what happens to you? You start to go down as well, right? You start to get tired, and you generally sleep pretty well. In fact, one of my 100% sleep scores on Whoop was in a tent where I was sleeping on the floor. I was sleeping without a sleeping bag because it was hot. I was sleeping without dark lights because there was moonlight and sunlight and starlight lighting up my tent. I did have an eye mask on, but just goes to show that the right light exposure, natural light exposure that's in nature, is the right way to optimize your circadian rhythm. So that wraps up this video. To start, I'm just focusing on getting enough sleep. So I got to go to bed very soon, getting enough hydration. So I think today I was a little bit low. Maybe I had about 2.5 liters. So it didn't even hit the 3 liter mark, which tomorrow I'm going to work on. One of the ways I'm working on that is through using a water bottle. I didn't have one today, unfortunately, so it makes it harder. And then lastly, nutrition, right? And just following this ratio of 70 to 80% water-based foods. So that's what I'm focusing on for now. Over time, as my energy increases, as I'm starting to feel better, I can start focusing more on breathing and correct and proper and optimize light exposure. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you agree with this list, if you think they're in order, if you think it's out of order. Probably breathing should be higher on the list. But let me know in the comments your thoughts. Hit the thumbs up on this video, and of course, don't forget to subscribe because we've got awesome videos coming in the future, and you're going to be able to get follow-up answers on, does this actually work? So I'm going to test it for you. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you next time in the next video.